Hey everyone, it's Joe Glines here, and
Jackie in Denmark. Sure. Yeah, fair enough.
so we got our quick chat today. Actually, I don't know what number we're on. Actually, you know what? I was thinking about it just because the relevance of it. This one will actually be an earlier than what we were thinking because it's a timely issue. We were going to talk about the AutoHotkey Forum and things have been going on with it lately, and all the I get 20 emails a day of updates of stuff that it's all spam, right? Or however. So I was thinking we would put this one out today, I guess. Yeah, we'll just set it out today. So it's relevant, right? But yeah. So did you see, or because I know you're more connected with the forum than I am. Have you seen the thread on it? I read one about it, about what had happened.
Not today, at least. I did not.
Oh no, yeah. This was a while back where I saw, hey, here's what's going on. But basically, if I remember correctly, there was a dialogue between a few people, and just one person got pissed off, I guess, think they weren't being treated properly, and then started, it's kind of funny, right? Ironic is that, of course, I'm sure they're using AutoHotkey to automate doing stuff in the forum to raise havoc. They basically are, if I understand it correctly, going to, commenting on posts, which, because I'm subscribed to a lot of posts, I get notified there's been an update.
Yeah.
But,
because I think they called it a spam officer at one point,
right.
On the forum. Of course, I don't have access to the actual staff part of the forum with that status, but I do still talk to some of the moderators on Discord and stuff like that, so do get a little bit of insight, but not too much. And yeah, it's been a hassle, and they come from time to time to the forum. We'd had a few people, and I can even remember a few usernames, and some of these people that for some reason makes it, I'd almost call it their life's mission or whatever you would say, because some of them, they keep doing this for such a long time that you really think, don't you have a better things to do? Don't you have a life, or whatever you'd say?
Yeah.
Because some of it isn't automated. It's just someone sitting there trying to make the moderation of the forum harder.
It's a real shame, especially because we're all free, right? We don't, none of us are getting paid for this, so we're just there. He's just wasting our time, everyone's time, right?
Yeah, exactly. And okay, they might have made some kind of post, and someone had their panties in a bunch or whatever, and they were hit with the ban hammer or whatever it might have been.
No.
And then they didn't feel like they had been treated fairly. But at one point it just becomes childish, might be a good way of putting it.
I think so.
Or
petty would be another one, but
petty. Yeah, exactly.
Small-minded. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just, you know what? Really, don't you have more important things to be doing? I mean,
yeah. Exactly, because people are actually trying to learn or listen to one another, and the spamming and the trolling in between posts and stuff like that. Let's say might be a busy person. If you have some scripts or some topics that you have going, or something that you really need answered,
right?
Someone coming in and posting something gibberish or profanities or whatever it might be, and you using your time to actually go and check it out, and either you get there and it's already been deleted,
right,
or you have to take the time to actually report that stuff. It's taking your time, it's taking the moderator's time, so everybody is free there. And if enough people have actually commented on your topic, they'll also be pinged, and
right,
all of their time will be wasted. And
well, I take it one step further, because let's say you had, get back to the thing, you had a serious question you wanted an answer to. Normally you post it to the forum and people might see it, but or and you write it back and this and that. But now, when there's so many, all the notifications that I get, I can't trust any one of them now. There's been an update to some post, so I don't look at any of them, right? Yeah. So that's what, honestly, I mean, I hate all the annoyance and all the stuff, but I feel really bad for people who are trying to get help, and yet there's so much noise now that it just, people tune it out entirely, right? And they're not going to be going and actually helping.
No, and that's exactly the sad part. That's the thing with like Peter keeps crying wolf and stuff like that. So if the forum keeps pinging you, there's news, there's an update, there's whatever, and each time you get there, it's a lie. It's not true. It was by fault. Yeah, you slowly get numbed to that. Yeah, and that's sad, because I do believe that's one of the things that the AutoHotkey for community is people come in, they have like a big burst of energy for the community and for the language, and at some point that it might not subside completely, but people move on to whatever their daily lives are, and they might only look in here and there, but the big topics, the things they've shared, topics they've started, if they get a comment, they'll come back, they'll answer the best they can. And in that way, people who have not been totally active in the last couple of weeks, months, whatever, they'll come back, they'll still answer questions. But if we keep having stuff like this going on, they'll also kind of like, I'll just turn that off now.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, it can really be damaging.
The other thing actually I want to bring up, for those that are, big AutoHotkey fans, they know this, but what was it like 7 years ago? We don't remember when it wasn't that long ago, but when we had the new forum created and all the drama right back then as well. I mean, that happened for a different structure and how it happened, but it's still, there was someone who was, unhappy with the way certain things were going. And then wasn't open to like freeing up, letting go of the reins. Is that right?
Yeah, that might be a good way of putting it. Again, I wasn't in the know per se, but I was following closely from the outside the best one could. So I'd say, yeah, it was someone had been given the reins by Chris as an example, because they were a valuable member to the community.
Yeah, and he was.
Yeah, totally. And at one point, the way he saw the future of the language and the way the community saw it didn't really collide. So he was moving in one direction, and most other vocal people wanted to move in a slightly different direction, and that kept going on for quite some time. So people wanted stuff to be this way, but he would change it in the other way, and making server choices, forum software choices that wasn't really in the community's maybe not interest, but at least it wasn't a community way of doing it, which had been before.
Because I think it's important to point out, it wasn't quote unquote right or wrong, right? It was just he saw his vision this way, and other people saw it a different way, which is fine, right? We all get that, but that gets back to the whole thing when you're, it's not to compare him to a dictator, but a good dictator, right, usually isn't a problem. But boy, the second someone who has full power, goes off on a limb, man, look out, right? It could be world ending type for the environment and the community.
And what exactly made someone actually move away from the forum at that time over to another? What was this problem with people not being able to reach the person in charge, the admin of the actual site? And the person becoming more and more absent. And then there was a bit of a movement where someone else would be appointed, and we got a hold of Chris, and there was some stuff that happened there, and there was the main developer now, Lecticos. I think he agreed to move with that part of the community over to HKScript, I believe it was .org, right?
No.
And that, of course, meant that the active developed part of AutoHotkey moved to another domain, which meant that most of the people in the know and the knowledgeable ones moved to that, even though I myself kept checking both forums rigorously, because I had no real stake in one over the other. But I do remember putting in my sig that people should check the other forum, because I knew that a lot of the people who really knew what they were doing were there as a kind of a protest to say, hey, this is just what we're going to do. And in the end, it ended up with the former member kind of saying, okay, fair enough, then you can all have it.
Right.
And I'll...
he washed his hands of it, right? He just basically stepped away entirely, right?
Yeah. That's something like that. That's what's happened, yeah. So now it's in the hands of some other people, yeah. And again, they have lives and all of that stuff, so they are also having a little bit of a struggle. And some of the people who helped, I remember that there was that Panagle with, I didn't even know the user really, but it seemed like he had a good hand in what was happening on the back end with servers and setup and all of that stuff. And he felt like he had been trampled on or whatever. So he came out at one point saying that's simply not okay. And he also dropped all of the work he did. So the back side of AutoHotkey and the community has always been a little bit rocky, might be the way to put it.
I think it's just one of those things, because I read a really good management book years ago, and it was this guy who used to be a CEO of a company, right, a main company, and basically it was easy to get people to do stuff because you could just say, well, you're going to get fired, or you're not going to get your bonus. But he actually moved to a nonprofit, and he realized he'd try to fire someone, and they're like, I'm a volunteer, right? Like, I don't care what you say. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I was just...
Gotcha. But I think it's kind of similar here. When all of us are volunteers doing stuff, it's really hard to have there's no direct, here's the boss, here's who you have to listen to, here's the process, right? It's all of us kind of pitching in, and thankfully, generally speaking, I think most people get along, and they're decent people, can have a reasonable discussion with, and and vet things out. But sometimes things get sideways, and when you're not getting paid for something, you're like, well, whatever, fine, I'll just stop entirely, right? I mean, it's hard to do something for free, I think, and not do what you think is right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, because that's kind of the incentive that you have, right?
Right.
You feel like you have been chosen, or you have taken on that task for whatever reason, and of course you'll try to move that along in the path that you see, because nobody else is actually paying you to do it their way. So of course you're gonna be doing it your own way. That makes good sense. And again, it now comes down to what we have talked about a couple of times. It would be nice if the AutoHotkey community as a whole would be more welcoming to profit opportunities, not because the community or AutoHotkey or the brand or anything should be pro advertising or pro anything paid, but the developers in the community should be pushed a little bit more over to allowing themselves to actually take a fee for
they
bigger
need
things.
a carrot. They need a reason for doing what they're doing.
And it's also a way to make sure that some people would stay around longer, or stay within the community, even though their skill set actually allowed them to move on. Because if there were at the front of the pack within the AutoHotkey community, and there was not an emphasis, but at least an okaying of people actually making money off it, it would be a good place to stay, I believe. Yeah, that's just my take on it, at least.
No, I agree. I think it could have some positive impact. Is I guess how I'd phrase it. And we can, again, neither of us are saying we should charge for people to use AutoHotkey, right? That's not it at all. It's just that having, I would even say just increase the what's the right word to say that, openness for it, because there is a link somewhere, buried somewhere, where you can donate money to the AutoHotkey I forget what it's called, foundation, right?
Yeah, it's a foundation. Yeah. LLC foundation.
I think if it was set up to be like, hey, how about once a year, if you're interested, if you want to, you can donate, X dollars once a year. It wouldn't take too much to start building some extra money to give to carrots to people who are doing stuff. I can't imagine how much work the admins are going through right now trying to deal with this, headache from whoever it is that's doing it, right? It must suck.
I'm without being able to compare this per se exactly, but my daughter, she goes to gymnastics, but with a lot of jumping and stuff like that on trampolines and saltos and whatever all that stuff is called. I don't remember.
Yep.
But it's in a local gymnastics club that's been around for 100 years or something. I think they just had an anniversary for that. And it doesn't cost much.
Yeah.
Because it's always been there. And the trainers and stuff are actually volunteers.
Yeah.
But one of my good friends is actually a trainer. And because of that, I know that he gets a small amount. He gets a few tax reductions if he has to buy whatever, a training bag or whatever it might be, and that small amount of money each year, which wouldn't be usable for anything really, but he can take his wife out to, let's say, 2 nice dinners a year or whatever it might be.
It's something.
But it's something.
Yeah.
And he's getting that, and all of the volunteers is getting that. They're still volunteers, and they're in no way getting their time compensated with money, but they're still getting something.
The other thing is that they're not getting his recognition for the most part, right? It'd be nice to have a page just showing who's doing what, and emphasizes somewhat. Because like I said, I don't go in and usually I answer if I post to what you said earlier. If I post a source code or something and people ask a question, you're absolutely right. I'll go back and try to help them. But on the random questions that come into the forum, right? Like I almost never answer those.
I'd say within the last year, my posting on the forum has almost declined to none.
Yeah.
I don't really have the time to do it that much anymore, and of course that's sad, but it's the truth. And I try to still keep some kind of what do you say, weekly tab on what's going on. So I'll skim it here and there, and I'll log on to Discord and see what they're saying there, and whatever is easy, and maybe answer a question or two here and there, but not nearly as much as I once did. And I think that a lot of people kind of get to that point.
Yep.
And to me, if these people that are behind the scenes who are really doing the work, keeping the server running, whatever security measures needs to be had and stuff like that, they'll burn out at one point. Yeah. If there really is no carrot other than I'm the one who does it.
Right.
Right. But yeah. But again, I do believe that people can keep with the community for a very, very long time. And Tank, who is one of the main admins, has been around way before at least me, and I'm not sure.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's still around, and I think he's doing a fine job. I don't know any kind of drama, whatever it might be between whatever is left, but I think they're managing it. But yeah, someone actually sitting manually making new accounts or using a Thor network or whatever people might do, it's just hard to really stop. Because yeah, you can ban IPs, you can ban hosts, you can do all kinds of stuff, but if the person just keeps changing it,
and just to be a jerk, if we actually had a trivial cost to creating an account, right, that would probably end this thing tomorrow, right? If we had it like $2, it's $2 to create an account, right? That would probably stop this, in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's true. It would. You're probably, but it would probably.
Yeah, it would turn away a lot of people.
Yeah. But again, they've had all kinds of ways that new signups has been limited over the last 2 years or so, where someone would have to manually allow a new account to actually access and post anything. So, and I think that was too much work.
Yeah,
without having been there. But yeah, but again, yeah, as you said yourself, if you had some kind of small inkling, but then you lose completely the freeness of AutoHotkey.
Maybe I mean, great. I don't know if there's a service out there that we could do this, but we could say it costs you $2 to create the account, and then after 1 month with good postings, you get your $2 back, right? Yeah. So we actually give the money back unless you've violated some terms and policies, right? But again, that's probably not something that could be automated, at least not easily.
You could probably do something with some kind of member plugin, whatever. But yeah, I have never really looked into it, but it could probably be done. And you could probably also easily enough do the paybacks or whatever you would call those, refunds or whatnot to people. And I'm not sure how many new accounts are created in a day, but it's probably 20 or something. Just me taking a stab at what it could be, but something like that, perhaps.
Well, what would be really cool is if we could say it's not actually when you create the account, it's only if you want to post, right? That way new people can come in and still read the forum and have a membership, but until they actually want to post, that's when suddenly, or maybe we change the account created where you still can create the account and no one has to oversight, there's no oversight until you want to post, because as well as I, the vast majority of people that create accounts don't actually post. They come in, check it out, look at it for a couple of weeks, and then they're gone, right? A lot of them are gone.
Yeah, true.
The number that are actually posting, I think, is much lower than the number of accounts created.
I think you're right. But yeah, the problem might be getting people to, and maybe a lot of our users don't have credit cards. I'm not sure.
Well, sorry. What I was actually referring to there was, I mean, I did say they would charge them, but what I was alluding to, I didn't say it specifically, was what if we had a manual approval process where humans reviewed it, but again, only when the person wanted to post, right? Then they go through the process, not when they create the account.
No, but I think they have had that turned on as well. But yeah, I think after an amount of approvals, because that's already turned on, I believe. I've at least approved quite a lot of. So if your account is new enough and you haven't actually gotten maybe 1, 2, 3 or something posts approved, you need to wait for approval before the post goes live. But the issue is if someone makes an account, makes 3 legitimate posts, and then starts the spamming as soon as that limitation is lifted. And that's the issue that's been with this. And that's why I'm saying that the hard part here is that someone is going in and getting around all the security manually, and then starting something that looks like an AutoHotkey script or whatnot.
Right.
And that's the sad part, because it is really someone using their real time on just being
It reminded me of when we did our AutoHotkey survey, and we launched it, and then after like 3 weeks someone automated the survey for no reason, because I don't know who thought that was fun, but they automated the entire survey, and of course we were able to easily see who, not the person, but the responses that were automated, right, and just remove them. But then we're like, this is ridiculous, right? So we added CAPTCHA at the beginning, which did stop it, but still, it was just, where do these people where do they have all this time? I don't know. I must be doing the wrong thing or something, because
they might have the time because they can't make money on doing. No, sorry.
Yeah, clearly they don't have any friends. No,
don't. Nah, probably not. No, but yeah, I think there's a lot that can be said about those different types of drama on the forum. But yeah, I'm happy that we have people actually doing all of that stuff, because hey, where would the community be without someone willing to do that amount of volunteer work? Might be a good way of putting it.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, I think we've done a good job covering this, and it's not too long of a call. Awesome. All right. Well, I'll catch you next week, and I'll talk to all you guys soon.
Yeah. Bye.